Hi there, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Cece. Today we are going to be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the entire series, because I just binged the whole thing. Well, I've actually binged the whole thing for like a year, but I watched season 1, 2, and most of 3 like a year ago, and then I took a long break in the middle of season 3, and then I came back and watched the whole entire rest of the series in like a month. After watching all 7 seasons of it, I have a lot of things I want to talk about. Mostly I'm just going to get into like how I felt about each of the characters and maybe some of like the plot. I do want to say before I get too deep into it that if there is a reboot going on and anyone who's involved in the reboot is watching, I would be totally cool with playing a trans girl Slayer, or I guess the bisexual witch best friend works for me too. So this was my first time watching the entire thing, and I would say that my favorite seasons were 1, 2 maybe, and seasons 5 and 6. Season 4 was good too because that introduced Tara, so like Willow and Tara. I'm definitely going to be talking about that. Season 3 was the season that I took a big break from, probably because it got boring during the middle, and season 7 was the last season. It wasn't the best. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best. First character that I'm going to be talking about is Buffy. Buffy, I would say, was one of my favorite characters throughout the entire series. Oh my gosh, she went through so much. So much. And she was so strong too. Like, this girl was young. Like, I think she started out the series as like a 16-year-old, and the things she had to go through. She deserved to definitely have a lot happier moments. I don't think I was fond of any of her love interests, but we'll get into that as we continue with the characters. But yeah, I would say the Buffy was definitely one of my favorite characters. Now, Willow. Willow was amazing, and not just because she's LGBT. The evolution that she went through throughout the entire series was so magical. Not to make a pun, but she like started out as like this really like shy, geeky girl, and then she started getting into magic, and she became more and more confident and more powerful. There was this theory that I watched from someone that I can't remember their name, where her clothes reflected her character development, and in the like, and I can totally see it because in the beginning she was like this really shy girl, so she was wearing like these like really like cute sweaters and stuff like that, and that worked so well for her. And eventually she got into like this gothy phase of probably my favorite out of the stuff that she wore. That was when she was becoming evil too. And then in the last season she was kind of wearing like, she still had like the goth stuff going on, but she also had like plain clothes. So I can totally see the whole clothing theory. Like, I think that works out really well. And that's not just because I took a costume class. To be honest, since this show took place in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I wasn't really expecting a gay character to come in, not even one of the main characters like realizing that they're LGBT. And then like when that happened to Willow, I was so shocked but so happy because like this was one of the main characters, and she got not one, but 2 love interests that were women throughout the series, and I really didn't hate either of her love interests. Xander. In the beginning of the series, I didn't like him. He was very annoying in the beginning of the series. Throughout the entire high school portion of the show, I did not like him one bit. But then college happened. Well, he didn't go to college, but college happened and he got into construction. He had some good character development. He became much more aware. He was becoming more nice. I think throughout the series, Xander definitely became a better character. Giles, he was great throughout the entire series. I don't really have that much to say about him. I think he has a really cool origin story from when he was younger, but I don't really know if they explored it that much. I don't remember. It might have been in season 3 because that's the stuff that I remember the least. Cordelia. Cordelia is a queen. That's what I'm starting this off with. Even though she was like, okay, she was basically the, mean popular girl. Those are the kind of characters that I get attached to. So, of course, I got attached to Cordelia. She eventually became one of the members of like the Scooby Gang, or, Buffy's gang back in the high school portion of the series. And that was great. Like, I loved seeing what she did. And then the college stuff came in. Cordelia left. I think Cordelia went on to Angel, which I did not watch. And that is because Angel, I just don't like him. I don't know. I just could never really get into his character. and he just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. He was never like one of my favorite characters, and I just don't really have the motivation to watch his show as much as I want to watch the series for Cordelia, but then Angel. Back to Tara, which is Willow's first love interest, which is around the time when Willow was realizing that she wasn't straight. Oh, Tara was such a good character. She was like magical. She was a witch, and like she helped Willow get into the witch stuff even more. And even though when Willow was becoming like really powerful, Tara was like, no, girl, which I kind of didn't really understand, because it seems like in the beginning Tara was all for Willow getting into magic, but you know what, maybe it does make sense, because as it continued, like, you know, in the beginning Tara was like, oh cool, but then as it continued, Tara was just like not, Tara was scared for Willow because Willow was becoming like really powerful. And then next to Buffy's mom's death, which I hated that episode, I hated in like a very sad way, Tara's death, I'm still not over it. Like, why? Why? I watched like a behind the scenes thing where the actress who plays Tara was talking about how the writers told her, and the way they told the actress that Tara was gonna die, the actress wasn't thrilled about it. Like, she clearly was not thrilled about it. And I'm not thrilled about it either. Why did you kill Tara off? I mean, okay, cool. We got another really great love interest for Willow in the last season, and I actually kind of like that love interest too, Kennedy, because I felt like Willow and Kennedy, they were like opposites, and they went well together because Willow was held back and Kennedy was very like headstrong, and I felt like they went well together. But Willow and Tara went together in like a different way with their love. I don't know. So on one hand, but they didn't have to kill her. Like, maybe like Tara moved on and like, you know, stayed a main character. And another issue I have in terms of Tara is they waited until the episode that she died to put her in the main credits. But she was there as much as the other main characters of the series. She should have been in the main credits in like season 5 and 6. I'm very strong about that opinion. Like, why did they wait until the episode that she died to put her in the main credits? Now, Spike... When Spike came in, I crushed on him from when he first came in. He was clearly evil. He was clearly, like, not a good person. I mean, he was a vampire, but, like, he was evil. And I just had the biggest crush on him. Like, I mean, have you seen him? He's cute. Like, he is cute. He got some very, like, Spike-centric episodes towards the end of the series that, like, evolved him into a better character, like when he got his soul. And there were some things that made me like him less towards the end of the series, too. But I had a crush on him. Okay, so if it wasn't obvious by the lighting being a little different and maybe my camera in a different place, I'm actually filming these next parts a little bit later than the rest of the parts just because there were a few characters I forgot to talk about. One of the characters I want to talk about is Faith. I think fashion-wise, she was my favorite. I loved the stuff that she wore. And she had some great character development at, like, season 7. That was so great. She went from the Slayer who was kind of psychotic to someone who was able to take charge. And I was just so proud of her. Like, honestly, she was such a good character. Another character I want to touch up on is Dawn. When she first came in the middle of the series, Buffy's little sister, I was just like, why is she here? And it continued to be that way for a little longer because I didn't really like what was going on. But then there was season 7. She thought she was a Slayer, but it turned out it wasn't her, and she helped that other person take charge. And I was like, something about that turn just made me appreciate Dawn more. She really became a great character at the end of this series, just like Faith did. And the other character that I wanted to talk about that I didn't talk about earlier was Anya. Anya was awesome. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't really know how to feel about her, but after the high school stuff was done, that's when I started to like her because she was just she was funny. She had a lot of backstory. I think she was a very watchable character, and I really appreciated her. I know, like, in the beginning of the video, I was like, hey, if there's, like, a reboot or a spinoff or a sequel, like, hey, like, hit me up. I'd love to be in it. But at the same time, do I think that Buffy should have a reboot or a sequel or a spinoff? I don't know. Like, I think they ended the series pretty well. I don't know how Angel ended for their last season, but I feel like Buffy the series ended pretty well, and I don't really think that they should have like any sort of sequel or reboot, because I mean a lot of things are getting sequels and reboots that really mess up their stuff, and then there's like once in a while something that has like a reboot or a sequel and like it's actually really good. But I'm scared that if they did some kind of reboot or sequel for this show, it just wouldn't be good. But like if they put me in it, I'd be all for it. But yeah, I think that was my opinion on everything. I don't know if I left anything out, but I probably did, since it was like 7 seasons long. So if there's something that I left out that you want me to talk about in maybe the comments or something, please let me know. Like this video, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!